Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Cumulus Media's fourth quarter results, which they just released today. So first in this video, we're going to take a look at the earnings and revenue numbers that the company reported. Then we're going to take a look at the earnings call to take a look at what management comments I found interesting. And then finally, we're going to take a look at the stock price to see how it reacted to these earnings results. Now, overall, it was a very good quarter for Cumulus. If we take a look at the highlights, not just of this quarter, but of the whole year, we see a number of very good developments. The first thing that's pointed out is improved quarterly revenue performance sequentially from Q2 to Q4, both total and excluding political revenues. So there's a nice trend going on since the bottom in Q2, which was the bottom of most companies' earnings. Cumulus has been increasing revenues each quarter, and that trend is likely to continue. Again, they achieved some pretty high growth on their digital revenue, and their podcasting growth was over 40%. So again, this is the highest growth part of their business and one that I am very bullish on for the future. Something that I've touched on a lot about this company is their cost reduction. So they reduced year-over-year fixed and semi-variable costs by more than 90 million, and 30 million of this is going to be permanent savings every year going forward from now. They generated 33.2 million of cash from operations. So even though the company lost money based on earnings, they were cash flow positive, which I place a higher importance on than earnings, since I think cash flow paints a better picture of the actual business results. Again, another highlight was they sold off two very significant assets and they're using the proceeds to pay down debt. Next highlight is that they paid down over 100 million of debt this year, and they finished the year with 278 million in cash, an increase of 256 million from December 2019. So now the company's balance sheet is loaded up with cash that they're ready to use to pay down debt and make investment. Now, in my last video talking about Cumulus, when I made a prediction on what their earnings would look like for this quarter, I did think that the company would potentially break even on earnings, be positive in terms of cash flow, and then bring in political revenues of around 15 million. And those predictions did actually turn out to be pretty close. So in the fourth quarter, there was net revenue of 245 million, a decrease of only 13.9% from the year prior, and a net loss of only 0.2 million. So the company basically broke even on earnings, which is what I was thinking. And they had an adjusted EBITDA of 39.6 million. And now if we take a look at political revenues for the fourth quarter, again with the presidential elections and then in the Georgia runoff, a ton of money was flowing into advertisements, some of which was on the radio, which Cumulus got a piece of. And so political revenues for the fourth quarter were 14 million. This was very close to the 15 million that I was expecting, and so I am very happy about that. Now the best part isn't even that we got this high revenue number, but that it is actually a very high margin part of the business. So from these 14 million in political revenues, the political EBITDA was actually almost 13 million. So almost all of that revenue made it through down to the EBITDA number, which means that that's just more money that the company can use to pay off debt or make investment. And just for a comparison of how the political season benefited this company during 2020. In 2019, they made around 5 million from political revenues, and this past year in 2020, they made over 23 million. So just a huge jump in political revenues. Now, from the earnings call, management gives us a lot of things to be excited about for the future of this company. The first thing is that advertisers are coming back to the advertising space after there was a huge drop-off during quarter 2 of last year. So this quarter so far, the top advertisements have been government, financial services, beverage and food products, and utilities, but they do mention that an emerging market is sports betting. So sports betting is going to be the next big thing. Everyone's expecting it to have some huge growth over the next few years, and so this is going to be a new growth driver for the company as sports betting continues to get legalized in more and more states. A lot of that advertising revenue is going to go to Cumulus, especially since they have the radio rights to most popular sports out there. As the CEO says, we believe we are well positioned to capture a healthy share of that category's growing audience spend as we move forward, given our strong assets in states where sports betting is currently legal or on the road to legalization. Another encouraging sign is that the podcast business is pacing up more than 30% this quarter, quarter 1 of this year. So again, just monster growth for the podcast part of the business continues to outperform everything else. And I do think this podcast business is a fantastic asset that Cumulus has, and I think has the potential to fetch them a higher valuation in the future. Now, the next thing that I think is worth mentioning is the use of the cash balance. So of that 200 and something million that they have in cash, around 133 million is proceeds from the asset sales that they made last year, and the debt covenants require that to be used to pay down debt if that's not reinvested. And so the plan for that is that half of that is going to pay down the term loan in June, and then the other half is going to be split between the term loan and bond sometime in the fall. And then another 16 million of the cash is for the revolver. So I've said in past videos, I really like it when management teams give a clear picture of what they're going to be doing with the cash on their balance sheet. And so I think Cumulus is still on the right track, focusing the majority of their excess cash to pay down debt, to deleverage the company and really put them in a healthier financial position. Now, other good news is that they do have another piece of property that they are planning to sell. So last year, they sold off land in Maryland, I believe it was, and then they sold off their portfolio of radio towers. The company also has a piece of property in Nashville, Tennessee that they are planning to sell off. And while they don't think it'll sell for as much as the DC land, they do think it'll be a nice little sale that'll give them some extra cash that will probably then be, again, used to pay down the debt. Now, in terms of what the stock actually did in reaction to the fourth quarter earnings results, stock didn't do much, up 1%, so no huge pop like we've seen over the past few earnings results. But regardless of this, I think that it was a very constructive quarter for the company, just moving them more forward on the right path, continuing to cut costs, continuing to pay down debt, and continuing the trend of increasing revenues each quarter. In terms of what I'm doing with my stock, I'm still holding. I haven't sold any. I don't plan to sell any anytime soon. Again, the first price where I would even start to think about taking any off the table would probably be around $18, which is around a double from right now. But until then, I'm content just holding. I think this is a quality company, and I think they have a bright future ahead of them if they just keep doing what they've been doing. So that's it for this video. Just wanted to make a quick update on this company because I know there's always people that ask me to make updates on stocks in my portfolio. So if you own this company, let me know down in the comments if you're pleased with how the year of 2020 went. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button to help out my channel. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss when I upload any new videos. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next time.